Imagine booting up Call of Duty Black Ops back in 2010 and getting the first sequel game to the original World at War Zombies mode. You would expect something grounded in reality, and something pretty tame, but with brand new graphics, new guns, and maybe a new gimmick or two. And your biggest hope for this year's new launch is that maybe Treyarch added that rumored new perk that we all heard about from the last game's final DLC, Derice. It's all well and good when you load up something like Kuno der Toten or 5 and you're greeted with a very straightforward zombie survival experience. The formula hasn't been drastically changed yet. You spawn in with a pistol, you hear zombies approaching, you're playing as familiar characters with familiar weapons, and by round 5 or so, you hear dogs spawn in and you know it's time for a max ammo round. You chase after the mystery box, you turn on the power, you collect your perks, and you survive as long as you can. And for the most part, that formula continued in Black Ops 2. Except now we've gotten some new perks, we've established that there are a couple new zombie special types like Nova Crawlers or the occasional Creeper Stalker zombie, things like Black Ops 1's George Romero, the Fire Zombie, or the Astronaut. So Black Ops 2's expectation is that we push that envelope a little bit further and try out some more silliness. Of course, you load up Transit and you start to feel the rails come out a little bit more from under you. Now we have a new power system, a new way to unlock Pack-a-Punch, weird new denizen creatures, a zombie that's kind of a ball of floating electrical pulses and nerve endings. And of course, through Black Ops 2, we add more perks, more immersive storyline main quests and Easter eggs, and more sci-fi weaponry. It's safe to say by Black Ops 2, zombies was getting a little weird, but at this point, that's probably about as weird as we can expect it to get, right? We're coming off the high of a map that has 1,000-foot robots and elemental wonder weapon staffs, transporting us into a third dimension. It's already getting pretty wacky, but I'm sure the next game's gonna bring us back down to Earth and everything's gonna get normal again. Well, turns out younger me was pretty naive. That didn't happen. 3 games deep into the series and the zombies mode, the precedent was set that each game gets a little bit weirder, a little more complex, and a little more feature-filled. And I don't think anyone expected what happened when we got our first glimpse of Black Ops 3 and the game's launch map, Shadows of Evil. It's pretty safe to say that this entire game and this map were a little bit more than a little bit weirder. It was a lot weirder and very different from the normal zombies experience. And Shadows of Evil as a launch map does a great job of summing up the Black Ops 3 experience very well. From the get-go, you're greeted with multiple brand new game mechanics, things like the Gobblegum system, the new 3-hit down system, and the ability to slide instead of dolphin dive, more futuristic weaponry instead of loading in with the M1911 for the first time ever in zombies, brand new characters that aren't our normal set crew, nor do they ever appear again in the rest of the game or the rest of the Black Ops series, and weirdest of all, this new creepy suit-wearing old man alien creature thing, and brand new plot lines about beasts and bearing the mark. It's weird, it's extremely bizarre, and it's a great first taste of the Black Ops 3 experience. Shadows of Evil is ridiculous in every possible way, but also perfect in so many ways, and an amazing zombies map at its core. I absolutely love it. I had a great time over the years going back and playing this map. I've gone for high rounds, getting my first round 100 of Black Ops 3 on this map, and admittedly my first round 100 in any zombies game up until that point. This is the game that made me want to go for high rounds and eventually did make me go back to Black Ops 1 and 2 to try my hand at the harder titles. Up until this point, I think my highest round in the previous games was 50 or 60, around there. But these days I love high rounding and I've made it a point to get round 100 on as many maps as I possibly can. And this map started that trend for me. There are a lot of great things to say about Shadows of Evil, but the community was torn at the time that this map came out. It launched at the same time as the pre-order bonus Derice remake, The Giant, which featured our standard 4 characters, Richtofen, Takeo, Dempsey, and Nikolai, and it also featured fan-favorite weapons, a fan-favorite map, and basic classic gameplay. Your normal zombies, your normal dog rounds, your normal wonder weapons, nothing crazy out of the ordinary. When you drop it down side by side against a map like that, Shadows of Evil looks like an entirely different game. By contrast, Shadows of Evil features every possible new game mechanic in one go. In order to progress anywhere through the map properly, you need to turn yourself into a giant alien beast creature thing, something never done in zombies before, unless you count going into Afterlife and Mob of the Dead in Black Ops 2. But even then, that was a very simple system. You turn into a ghost to shock some power boxes, and that's pretty much it. In Shadows of Evil, you're a giant beast that can destroy boxes, open up barricades, zap power on for individual perks and doors, unlock the way for you to complete alien rituals required for you to collect floating space worms that give you portals to another dimension, that requires a mini boss fight to unlock the Pack-a-Punch that's only accessible by wall running through ancient debris hidden under Chicago. Saying that all out loud makes it sound absolutely insane and downright ridiculous. And that's because it is. But that's also what makes it so unique and so fun and so interesting, and what immediately throws you into the brand new Black Ops 3 Zombies experience, which to be fair is only going to get weirder and more bizarre from here, so you might as well start weird so the rest of the game isn't a massive shock to the system when you eventually start riding dragons, fighting spider monsters, and pack-a-punching your alien black hole gun inside the stomach acid pool of a floating space worm by the end of the game. And Shadows of Evil on paper from a story perspective is actually pretty innocent and harmless. You're 4 civilians, made up of Nero, a magician, Jessica, a burlesque dancer, Jack, a cop, and Floyd, a boxer. 4 people from 4 different backgrounds led to a life of sin, eventually captured by a new boogeyman, the Shadow Man, who's Black Ops 3's antagonist, and sent to pay for their sins by fighting off hordes of zombies in an apocalyptic overrun version of their entire world. We've seen storylines like that before. Mob of the Dead was 4 prisoners paying for their crimes and attempting to escape from prison after Alcatraz is overrun by the undead. Call of the Dead is 4 actors escaping a movie set after their set is overrun by the undead. And Shadows of Evil is 4 sinners escaping a city after their home is overrun by the undead. But this time there's also some alien creatures and biblical horrors for them to fight off, like little meatball monsters, giant deadly wasps, and a big old tentacle monster called the Margwa. In this map, whether you love it or you hate it, serves as a very effective way to introduce new players to all the new mechanics that you're going to experience for the rest of Black Ops 3. And it's a great setup for Black Ops 3's storyline by introducing the big bad of this game, the Shadow Man, and the thing that we're all chasing, the summoning key. It's not a throwaway map by any means, and it serves as a very effective launch map in that it is a standalone experience from the rest of the game, but is also feature-filled enough that it can easily be the only map someone plays from Black Ops 3, and they'll still get the full zombies experience for this title. It establishes the newer, complex gameplay loop, it lets you interact with wackier new wonder weapons, it introduces the concept of specialist abilities and specialist weapons, it introduces you to the game's new crutch perk, Widow's Wine, and it's very replayable with an interesting enough storyline that it's hard not to like these characters, the setting, the visuals, and the playstyle of the map. So why didn't the community love it when it first came out? It ticks all the boxes of all the best maps featured in the rest of Black Ops 3. Well, to put it simply, it's because of everything that I just mentioned. A few minutes ago, I laid out the history of Zombies launches thus far and the evolution of the game through World at War, Black Ops 1, and Black Ops 2. Every new iteration did make Zombies a little sillier and a little bit wackier, but only a little. Black Ops 3 was a complete departure. It's still Zombies, and these days it's considered one of the best of all time, if not the community's often #1 Black Ops Zombies release ever. But at the time, we went from grounded, gritty, darker maps that were mostly serious in tone to space aliens and monsters and body transformation and Dark Souls style enemies and brand new gameplay mechanics that were unfamiliar, weird, and shocking. On top of that, before we fully learned the map and understood how to unlock each area, unlock perks properly, and get the map's wonder weapon, open the pack-a-punch, and complete the Easter egg, without any guides on how to do these things, the map felt very overbearing and overcomplicated when combined with a totally different, brand new playstyle. So of course it's easy to look back now understanding the gameplay systems that came with Black Ops 3 because we've had over a decade to go back and play the game, understand its mechanics, and learn Black Ops 3 at its core. But at the time of launch, with only one weird map under our belts that played like this, Shadows of Evil was a very weird oddball out of the bunch that was radically different than anything else ever released in Black Ops Zombies before. And in case you don't know how people normally think, it's very easy to hate on something that's unfamiliar and different, until the norm becomes this new unfamiliar weird standard. Once we moved on to our next map, Der Eisendrock, and the weird bar didn't get any lower, and we started to understand that special elemental bows and arrows and fighting giant robe-wearing alien creatures for boss fights was going to be our new norm for Black Ops Zombies moving forward, Shadows of Evil didn't look as weird in comparison anymore. And of course, after launch, the map did get some balance updates and changes that made Black Ops 3 a more welcome experience to newer players and casual fans alike, and it did ease up a bit on some of the immense difficulty that came with the map at the time of launch, decreasing enemy spawn rates and sprinter times, making the wonder weapon a little bit more powerful and a little bit better balanced, and overall making the gameplay flow of the map a bit better than it was on day one. But overall, a lot of the immediate hatred to the map was that it was so different. And I have to give Shadows of Evil a lot of credit because the new standard that it established is really cool. The new wonder weapon, the Apothecan's Servant, is arguably the strongest and one of the best wonder weapons of all time. It's an alien creature that you shove your arm into and shoots black holes that does infinite damage at any round, making it insanely good for high rounding. This map features Jeff Goldblum, Heather Graham, Neil McDonough, and Ron Perlman as celebrity voice actors. A very stacked cast of phenomenal actors to feature in a Call of Duty game. The Easter egg is both tedious and challenging, but equally fun to complete with a team, and the setting is awesome. Visually, it's very pretty and it still holds up today, and the design of the map is both open enough to encourage training and wide open traversal, but also features tight corridors and back alleys and trap spots that make you have to think about where you go and when. It's equally as much a challenge as it is a fun and replayable casual map. Shadows of Evil broke the mold for Call of Duty Zombies. It allowed the game to get weird, and it let Treyarch and the team get more goofy and off the wall with their ideas. And while it was received poorly off the bat, it had a long road to ultimately becoming a well-beloved map by the community, and it's now better received for its cool new mechanics and groundbreaking changes to the Zombies mode as a whole. Looking back at it a decade later and comparing it to the games we've gotten since, games like Black Ops 4, Black Ops Cold War, Black Ops 6, and Black Ops 7, it almost doesn't feel weird at all, because we've come so far since then. And in comparison, it's no longer the sore thumb sticking out against maps like Noct, Doris, and Kino. It's an innocent Zombies in Chicago map that the community has come to love and embrace for its quirks and weirdness. So what are your thoughts on Shadows of Evil? Did you love the map right from the get-go, or was it a shock to the system the first time you booted up Black Ops 3 Zombies? Let me know your thoughts. And if you like this video and you want to see more like it, drop a comment, leave a like, and maybe even consider subscribing. It helps a ton and it means a lot. That's all I've got for now, and I'll see you in the next one.